Virtual summits are the most powerful online marketing tool available to grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and create an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. If you are ready to take your summit to the next level, then tune into the Virtual Summit podcast with Dr. Mark T. Wade.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, founder of Virtual Summit Software and creator of the One Day Summit Formula. And I'm on a mission to help you, the summit host, get your summit out to the world in a powerful and impactful way. So let's get started. Hey, Summit host, Dr. Mark T. Wade here, founder of Virtual Summit Software and your host on the Virtual Summit Podcast. Today's a special episode. Today is going to be, I thought about doing this as a strategy session, but I decided, you know what? Like, you guys have probably heard a lot from me, and I'm going to add my opinions and my thought processes into this, and I have talked about this topic, but I wanted to bring not just an expert on this subject, but somebody who's close to me. I mean, like really close to me, actually. Kin. It's my brother. Not kin as in the name, as in like family kin. My brother, Luke Wade, who is the community creator. He has specialized in building community for almost a decade now. He started out with an adults sports league. Started to transform that to getting with just sand volleyball, 3,000 people. And then fast forward 5 years, he has helped over 75,000 people through their community. And it involves now adult sports league from softball, volleyball, pickleball, basketball, you name the sports, they got it. They also have events, one-day events such as pub crawls, golf tournaments. They also create charity events, etc. And he's been building community for a while. And then obviously he's been in the virtual space for a long time and has recently transitioned to helping entrepreneurs, companies, charities, nonprofits build communities in their organizations right now, which is so important. So I wanted him to come on and talk about engagement strategies and virtual experiences because he is an expert in that. So we're going to get deep and heavy into this aspect on today's episode. So let's get ready to rock and roll. All right. Well, I'm super excited to get started with this. Luke, we got my little brother, Luke Wade here, who is the community creator. And we're going to be talking about some very important aspects when it comes to virtual events. We're getting questions left and right. Everybody, we all know this, everybody and their brother and mother right now are trying to incorporate some type of virtual element to their brand, business, or in-person event. Now, the thing we all know is you can't just take a live or in-person activity or event and just make it virtual and expect it to be great. There are some delicacies, there are some strategies that goes into that, and that's what I want to focus on right now with Luke. So Luke, before we kind of jump into any specific strategies, I would love for you to just give everybody just a little bit more information about yourself and the community creator.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. I love all the things you guys are putting out right now. So I'm Luke Wade, the community creator. You can find more information about me at thecommunitycreator.com. But essentially, I started a sports league, started with the softball league for me and my friends about 8.5 years ago in Kansas City, and exploded. It was just for adults, and we exploded into sand volleyball, and within 3 years had 3,000 people playing. Was able to leave my job, and that was about 5.5 years ago. Now, after 8 years, we've had over 70,000 people attend our sports or our one-day events. Our biggest focus is community, getting people active out in the community, meeting new people through fun experiences. So we create a lot of really unique one-day events, such as grilled cheese festivals, zombie crawls, underachievers runs, all kinds of crazy stuff. So we really focus on in-person, and now I have to say in-person with the new day and age, but we really focus on in-person sports leagues and events up until about 2.5 weeks ago. And now we are focusing all on virtual online experience and events. So yeah, background is sports leagues and fun, unique events. And now we're pivoting our business and like everyone else and trying to figure out what to do now.
Virtual Summit's software makes hosting a summit easier than ever. The only software in the world designed specifically for hosting a summit lets you set up a summit in a matter of hours with no tech skill or team needed. You can try out the Virtual Summit's software free at virtualsummits.com. But hurry, this is a limited offer.
Well, and I'll also kind of throw in there as well. In the last several weeks and months, you've been putting on specifically virtual experiences, which we're going to get into a lot of those. But when it comes to virtual world, you've been in that place for a long time. Your background being a developer, designer, et cetera, and of course doing a lot of in the entrepreneurial world, setting up lots of activities or events and bringing people together. So the really cool thing about this is your experience and your knowledge has always been, as the title suggests, community creator, bringing people together and giving them an experience. And now the perfect opportunity is, how do we create these experiences virtually? So I want to talk first, and we're going to get into strategies for all you Summit hosts listening right here, into how you could specifically add different engagement and experiential strategies into those specific workshops, mastermind summits. But before we do that, I want Luke to just paint the picture on some of these different amazing virtual experiences that you've been providing for other companies and organizations. So just talk through some of the most recent ones that you guys have been doing and what they are, what they entail.
Yeah, so Mark's right. My background is computer programming, website design, software design, and graphic design. And so all along the way, growing my business of KC Crew Sports and Events, I've used my technology to do integrated marketing and Facebook ads, and I built my own software. And so I've been in the technology and virtual and software world for my entire life, and that's my true passion. And so when we transition into, hey, we can't run in-person events anymore, what do we do? The first thing I thought of is all the thousands of people that would normally go outside and play with us, and what are they going to do? Like, that was my first thought. And so I thought, well, how do we help them, right? And all I could think of was the things I was seeing my friends sharing, like, you can tour these museums online. I just started seeing all these really fun and cool things all over the place. So we just decided, hey, let's just put together a top 10 list for people of things that aren't even us, just for our community to engage with. And so that we literally worked all night that Sunday night after the announcement came out of 50 people or less. We worked all night, put out a top 10 list of top 10 things you can do, which included, like I said, you can watch an opera from home. You can tour 500 museums virtually from home. You can go on a safari at a zoo from home. So we started putting together all these really cool lists and just putting them out to our people. So again, because we didn't know what we were going to do, it was like, all right, let's just combine this, get it into one spot, let people know, one for us, but also all of our friends and all the people in our community. So give them ideas of what they can do. Then we had the idea of, well, why don't we do a virtual event? Obviously, everyone knows about Zoom now. Zoom's amazing. We've been using it for years. It really makes it easy to do stuff like this. So we just started thinking, like, how do we make a really fun live experience using the technology at our fingertips? And the first thing we came up with was virtual bingo. And we're learning a lot about that. And so we started doing where we would email you your bingo cards and we would pull the balls live. And then we also we're like, well, how do we make that more fun? And so I threw on a crazy Mardi Gras jacket, and I'm really animated. We brought a DJ in to kick the whole thing off. And then we also essentially mixed in trivia. So when we pull a certain ball, there's a trivia question, and we get everybody interacting through the chat and on the video. And so that has been our most famous one so far. Our most popular one is our bingo. It's been absolutely amazing. We launched it probably 3 weeks ago. We're doing 3 a week now. We do a Sunday brunch, a Tuesday evening, and a Friday happy hour for the public. But what's crazy is later today, I'm doing one for the Chiefs organization. The Chiefs reached out to us, hired us to do it as a team building event for all their employees working from home, so they can interact, see each other in a fun way rather than on a meeting or a call that they're doing every day right now. So that was the first one. Now we have charities coming to us. I got a call from New York yesterday. I'm in Kansas City, so that kind of blows my mind. So now we're looking at how do we roll this out for other people and do it for them. It's really fun and engaging. That's just one of the ideas. Bingo, we're doing virtual networking happy hours through Zoom in their breakout rooms, which make it really, really cool. We're launching trivia events. We do a cook dinner live with us and watch Netflix. So a whole bunch of really, really cool stuff like that. So it started with just how do we engage our community and give them something to do through a list and activities. And now we're bringing them stuff and we're giving them ideas. We also do, my community cares about sports. They love softball. They love volleyball, pickleball, basketball. And so what I did was I reached out to a local community person who was a pro, either a golf pro, pickleball pro, and I start going live 1 day a week with them. So now we have sports live, or every day is a different sports where we go live. This morning was volleyball. I brought in a volleyball coach. I let them stream from home. They teach you how to practice your serve from home, every week we're focusing on a different skill so that you don't lose your skills while you're at home over, the next couple months. You come back out playing as you would have been before. So we're doing sports live tips. Those are all free. I've also created things that not only benefit me, but I think would benefit other people. I reached out to a friend of mine who does meditation, yoga, and mindfulness, which really has helped me get through my life for the past 3 years. So I brought him on. We do 3 times a week. We do that live. So again, it's just about what can help other people. What can we bring those experiences to those people sitting at home?
What I really, really love about what you just said here, and I think everybody needs to focus in on, is it's not really so much the activity or the event. It's actually about knowing your audience and what they want. Because, you know, Luke's audience very much is in the sports, is adult sports league. So they first started providing things specifically for that audience. If he would have provided something that, you know, and maybe stay-at-home moms would have liked, it would have been it wouldn't have fit with the community. So you always have to start with what does your audience want, and then think about adding the virtual experience to it. I love this. And now Luke's been, you know, we're starting to work with other different audiences and communities. And so it's bringing in, you saw just those of you who are seeing the video version of this, I pulled up an actual screen capture of the bingo. I participated in one of them. It's great. Like you know, there's songs and there's interaction on the chat that they have going, and there's multiple people coming back and forth on the screen. And like Luke said, it's not just one thing sit there. It's what I would like to add to this is when it comes to an experience, it can't be what we're used to when it comes to virtual. It can't just be audio and visual. It's got to incorporate some other aspects of the senses. And I think one of the senses, I mean, it's actually not a sense, but is emotion, right? We have to elicit emotion. So whether that's humor, which is an easy one, or maybe even controversy or whatever. And I think, for example, in that bingo activity that I participated in with you guys that you were hosting, it was fun. I was laughing. I was giggling, you know. I was chatting back and forth with some people on there. A couple of them were wearing costumes. Everybody was having a good time. So I really like how, one, you start with who the audience is and what do they want. And then after you decide what they want, what you can provide, you look at how you can create an entertaining environment that elicits emotion and the other senses. So I love this. Let's kind of hack down into some brainstorms here. We're going to get into some kind of tips and strategies on like what to keep in mind, what to watch out for if it's your first time doing these things. You know, all of us that have done a virtual type of event, you know, summit, mastermind, workshop, etc. We've all experienced first time things that go wrong. So we're going to cover some of those here momentarily. But I'd like to brainstorm from each of these different activities. A virtual summit, for example. You know, if I'm running a virtual summit, I'm probably not going to go and do a bingo session in the middle of it. But let's talk about ways that we can create engagement through experiences, activities. So with a virtual summit, we've got 3, 4, 5 days of content, right? It's learning, there's things like that, and that can get boring over 3 or 4 days. What are some ideas or strategies that somebody, maybe that's not super uber techie, could actually elicit or put in to provide some engagement or activities or experiences for their audience?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things they could do. I mean, if you think about, just try and think about in-person events, you can replicate a lot of those things. So if you've ever been to an event that just blew your mind, break it down on what it was. From the moment you walked in, what did you see first? What did you hear first? What did you smell first? Obviously, like you said, senses. You're not going to get any of those smells or anything like that at home, but you can attach their ears, their eyes. So when somebody comes in, the first thing they see is me in a really fun jacket dancing and laughing, they're immediately going to think of something fun. And so, and then the first thing they hear is fun music, which is upbeat. And so, and when I'm interacting immediately and telling people to high five and pass the screen and tell people happy birthday in the chat, like interacting and making it okay, getting them to interact with you, whether it's writing something on the paper and holding it up to the screen, getting them to actually move around, like you said, visually and audio, you can do that pretty easily. What do they see and what do they hear? But how do you get them to move and interact and be a part of it? Like you said, the bingo event, for example, we've had friends that came and said they were just going to watch and ended up playing the entire time because I'm keeping them engaged. I'm getting them involved. I'm saying their name. So I think for like a virtual summit, again, it's like you said, knowing your audience. What is the virtual summit? Break that down. What do these people like? What do they enjoy? And then even if they're signing up, I know you have a lot of options through the software. Ask them questions. What are their hobbies? What are their favorite things? Like you can get that information from them in advance and then give them a bonus surprise. So they come to the summit, right? They know they're coming to this course, they're coming to that, they're listening to this speaker. Well, there could be a lunch breakout thing that just says breakout, right? And then you just over deliver on that breakout. Maybe there's a DJ, which was how I kind of over delivered on my first one. Was I didn't tell anybody I was having the most popular DJ in town open up bingo. So when they first got there, they saw this DJ DJing, welcoming everybody in. Hey, Luke will be here in just a second. Thanks for joining us. He's DJing. Everybody's laughing and smiling. It was just amazing to see the reaction from people. So they didn't know that was going to happen. So again, that's just over delivery, which was really easy for me to do. And so you got to think about those things. How can you over deliver or surprise people? Even if it's something small, they didn't see it coming and they feel surprised. They're going to be like, wow, that was worth it. It's just going to elevate your experience that much more. So try and think of in-person events. If you do in-person events now and you knock it out of the park, how do you replicate those things? And that's where I got the idea for my Mardi Gras jacket. I emceed Mark's event in New Orleans, Virtual Summit, Summit Fest Live. And I wore a Mardi Gras suit because we were in New Orleans and it was Mardi Gras. And so I thought, man, for this bingo thing, how do I take it up a notch? I'll throw the Mardi Gras jacket on. So I think you can get a lot of the answers specifically for your audience from your audience. You can find out what they like. How do you bring an extra speaker in that maybe is a world-known person for your audience that they didn't know and just over-deliver? So those are just some of the ideas off the top of my head.
I really like that, the focus on, one, back to knowing the audience, but then surprise and delight. How can you throw something in? And I'd also say when it comes to a summit as well, more is not always better. Sometimes, making sure you have one thing or two things that are really going to surprise and delight. Because also people don't want to be overwhelmed. Like, oh my gosh, this hour we have the best DJ. The next hour we have the best guitarist. Like, it's like, whoa. Like,
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to set the bar so high that you can't keep up, right? So you can't keep getting the best DJ every single time, especially we're doing bingo 3 times a week. Like, I can't get the same, I'm trying to deliver the same experience every time. And we do, have the DJ on now every time. We've incorporated that into our model. But like, if you're going to shoot for the moon, you got to make sure you can hit the moon every single time. So don't make it so hard that you can't deliver those things. But yeah, you're exactly right. What is the one thing that can surprise and delight, but it's not making you break your back or bend over backwards to get that done?
Okay, exactly. And with that one potent thing, it's going to be one of those things that people then go and they talk about. Like, they're going to share. That can help also with a virtual summit. If you let people know, maybe not what the surprise is, if it's going to be a surprise, but let them know something's coming. And then when it does come, they share it. It can help bring more people into your virtual summit. And there's all kinds of other little, engagement strategies we could throw in there. I want to kind of shift over a little bit more to like a virtual mastermind now. And, we haven't talked about this a lot on this podcast here, masterminds and workshops, but it's something that we have to start talking about now because everybody's shifting over into virtual. So when it comes to a mastermind, one of the main premises of a mastermind is not so much the teaching and the learning or the lecturing, like maybe from a summit or a workshop, but it's the connection. So what are some maybe ideas, strategies, thoughts that we could do virtually, but still provide a kind of connecting experience?
Yeah, I think even just if you're in charge of a mastermind and you're just stuck right now, that's one of the craziest thing I've seen so far when I talk to people. And, a lot of people I call it community. People think of community as a different thing. Your audience, your clients, all of those people are your community. They buy things from you. They trust you. They want to be so they're your community sitting at home with nothing to do right now. They may be working throughout the day, but a lot of them are looking for things to do. So if you have a mastermind and you just haven't done anything, just set up a meeting, set up a happy hour, set up anything you can to get them interacting with you. I've gone above and beyond trying to over deliver to my people just on based what I think they want. But if you have a mastermind and you're not doing anything, the first thing to do is do something. Like, you reach out to them, engage with them somehow. Again, ask them what they want, what could benefit them right now, and then how do you deliver on that? A lot of people also think, if it's your first time into the virtual world, they think everything's got to be perfect. I've been talking to people all over that are asking me to help them do things, and they're like, well, we should push this a month out. We got to do this and that. And I'm like, guys, no. Go live tomorrow. Push it out. I don't care if no one's there. You push the live stream. You push it out there. People are going to see it. Next time, they're going to be there. And you just get it done. Get it out there. I know my wife actually doesn't like to go and talk in front of people. Today, she did all of our lives for me because I had a doctor's appointment, and she killed it. She knocked it out of the park. So don't think it's, look, I'm sitting at home. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm in my underwear. You don't know, right? You could do it however you want. It doesn't have to be perfect. At the end of the day, people are looking for something to do. And if they trust you and know you and buy from you already, they're going to thank you for giving them something to do. So I think the happy hours, everybody's kind of doing those right now. But again, I think your audience can really tell you what to do. Get them on a happy hour, ask them what they want to do, brainstorm, and take some of those ideas out of that and then deliver it.
Be sure to check out the speaker management tool inside your Virtual Summit software, which lets you quickly and easily recruit and manage your speakers on your virtual summit, literally eliminating hundreds of hours of work. Get more information at virtualsummits.com.
It is so true. Like, do not wait. I always say, I'll always ask, how many perfectionists do we have in the group? And I'll have them say, I'll put a P in the chat. Now, I want you to take that P and take it from perfection and proud. If you're proud of it, put it out. Don't wait for it to be perfect. So I love that. Get it out there, especially right now, because as you just said, everybody's now starting to do virtual, happy hours. If you're the first one out there, you are, you're the creative one. You're the you're the model. But if you're like the 20,000, so just get out there and move it. Don't let it hold you back. Now, if we circle back a little bit to summits, to virtual summits, for example, and most of these are like pre-recorded. We can add some of these kind of live events into this, these experiences, all the things we've just been talking about. Now, this is going to add some extra kind of tech, maybe, Zoom, whatnot. But it also is probably going to require a little bit more planning or things to know about. So let's look at one of your virtual experiences that you've run recently and walk us through hey, here's some mistakes that we've learned from, here's some challenges we've had to overcome. Let us know those mistakes and challenges so we can be aware of them.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge overall of everything that I've done recently is naming. So people don't know what it is. We called it bunker bingo. We thought that was clever and fun because you're bunkered down at home and you can't go anywhere. So bunker bingo. Reality was nobody knew what bunker bingo was. They didn't know bunkering home. They didn't realize they could play from home. I had people tell me, I can't play. I don't have any bingo equipment. So we realized very quickly in naming it that it was confusing people. And now people are confused. Everything is online. People thought we were still doing events in person. We're like, guys, no. So we started putting virtual on everything. We started putting virtual networking happy, virtual bunker bingo, which really helped people get it. And then, we took some of our video to help explain it, showing them this is how it works. We got on the news, which again explained how it works. So I think education is the biggest thing. So name your event so they don't have to guess and figure out what it is, and make it as clear as day what it is. Don't be clever. Because right now, honestly, people, they're confused. They don't know what's going on. And if they've never done a Zoom or never done virtual events before, they're going to be even more confused. So again, Zoom makes it really easy. We've got a lot of people using it for the first time, but you got to get them there somehow. So if you name it incorrectly and you market it bad, they're not going to get there. So education, naming, all that stuff's important. The other thing is, marketing 101 is capture their information, right? Get their email, get their phone number, right? Zoom has an awesome platform for just that. And that's what we're doing. We used to run our events through a different platform for paying and all that stuff. Right now, we're just setting up on Zoom, making it easy as possible, get their email so I can remarket to them the next time I do this. So that's a big key because I don't have a bingo list right now. I don't know about you guys, but now that, I didn't have one, now that I've started this and started collecting, I've got 150 emails already that I can promote the next bingo to, and it just keeps growing. So again, if I didn't have that, I'd have to market new every single time and just hope for more exposure. So marketing 101, always capture their information. And then again, how can you over deliver? How can you surprise and delight? Interacting, like Mark said, he does an amazing job on all of his Zooms. Hey, Mark, get P down there, turn it into proud. Who's here? He does. And I got a lot of my ideas from watching Mark. So when we do bingo, hey, the blue card is what you're playing right now. Comment blue when you're ready to go. You just see a flood of blues come through. Oh, hey, I know somebody in the crowd, it's their birthday. Everybody wish Mark a happy birthday. Give him a HBD down there. So interacting, getting them to interact with it, mixing in the trivia, that's how we do it. So you want to keep them interacting. I actually watched a different Zoom from someone else who was teaching people how to do that. That's where I got the fist bump idea or the cheers idea or writing it on paper and holding it up. So getting them interacting and moving so they feel like it's not something they can just walk away from and disengage is really, really important. So those are the number one things. And then right now, everybody's struggling. So what I always say, which is if you're still selling your normal product, you're doing it wrong. Nobody is thinking about buying right now. They're not thinking they're going to buy a sports league or come to a pub crawl. They're just not. They're worried about what's going to happen in the future. They don't know if they're going to have income. They may lose their job. They're just not spending money on those sort of things right now. But if you can if you can twist it and offer them something new that also helps them and gives back. So our bingo, we immediately thought, how do we give back with bingo? Yes, we chart, we're making money off bingo, but how do I also give back, which gives them the, one, it's giving them something to do, but now they have an excuse. We started buying gift cards from local businesses and providing those as prizes. So now not only are you playing bingo and having fun and interacting, you're supporting local businesses who are shut down at home as well that you would normally go and eat at, now. So the idea is we give them a gift card, they order takeout, they go pick it up and take it home. So we looked at always trying to give back, always trying to make sense, because right now I know tons of people like lawyers who have no billable hours right now. They're waiving people's fees. That's the right thing to do. You cannot charge people, add late fees, and sell normally the same way you were before. It's just not the right mind frame. So how do you give back and also provide them an experience that benefits you and them as well?
Oh, I love that. I mean, and it's not just this moment too, but in the future, regardless of when we're hearing or watching this right now, if you're doing the right thing and you're helping people, then they're going to have a better experience, and they're going to want to come back to you. It creates know, like, and trust. Also, the experience, as you were just saying, I want to point out several things that you just said, which were really important, is when we're talking about engagement strategies. I mean, we've been talking about some big, experiences like bingo or DJs and this and that, but to keep them engaged, whether it's on a virtual summit or a virtual mastermind or a workshop and you're teaching something there, it could be something as simple as having them do anything. Luke just talked about fist bump the screen, draw something and hold it up. Like, that is engagement. That is keeping them engaged. And the opposite of that is them sitting there staring at you blankly, which, one, I will say, because I've had this happen, where you're going, oh my God, they are not loving this. And then you're like, the whole time you're trying to teach or, perform, you're questioning yourself, like, what should I do? Should I dance now? Should I dance on the chair? Like, what do I need to do? They're not happy. And they're probably not happy. They're just not doing anything. They're not engaged. So having them do anything, one, keeps them from their minds wandering, the Facebook, the kids, the dogs, whatever. So I love that it can be small, but you got to plan that out. So this is another aspect that, like Luke was saying, is you got to think through these things. So he talked about some of the specifics on naming. I'd also like to go into, Luke, have you explain some of the processes of this, because it is very true on all virtual events. It does not matter how skilled the host is or even how, smart the attendee is, but steps in preparing how you can get people the information they need to be ready for the events. Because, I mean, if I don't know where to log in or if I don't have what I need, like, what do I do? So, like, talk us through some of those things. Like, on this side, it's like the people are complaining because they didn't know how to do whatever they needed to do versus a very well kind of mapped out engagement.
Yep. Again, we're lucky in that we throw a lot of really crazy in-person events. We do a golfing event where you have to go and chip off buildings. You use a streetcar to get around with 1,000 people at 10 different locations. So trying to explain that and logistically get people through that is very difficult. So we've already had that experience. So the number one thing is step-by-step bullet point instructions. Break it down for them. So when somebody signs up with us, we put them into an email. We send them an email with everything. One, we have to get them the bingo cards anyway, but forget about bingo. You need step-by-step. Click here first. Once that opens, click here. If you can create a video share that they can watch to do, or picture screenshots that explain it, just make it as easy as possible. Pretend you're explaining this to your grandma digitally, right? So just make it as super easy as possible that they can figure it out, because it's important. If they get lost and don't find the Zoom, you're the bad guy, not them. So we break it down step by step with exactly what they have to do. They can also reach out to us at any time. We make sure our information is open. Our email is open right before the event. So if people are emailing and messaging us lost and need help, we're responding right away. So you definitely want to make sure you have a team to help you with that. If you're doing something larger and you need there's a lot of people coming and you're getting a lot of questions, make sure. But it all starts with that detailed explanation. So step 1 here, step 2 here, step 3 here. And then ideally when they get in the event, I run through it again and explain to them how it works and keeps it simple and things like that. Like you said, you don't want to over deliver. So for our bingo game, for example, there's a million ways to play bingo. You can do blackout, you can do make a star, like all kinds of crazy stuff. But one, I'm asking people to figure out how to get on Zoom. I'm asking them how to digitally mark their cards on their computer. So I don't want to make it crazy hard for them. So we're just going to play regular bingo the whole time, up, down, across, or, straight line, whatever those 3 rules are. So we wanted it, and we did that on purpose. We just kept it simple because there's already enough going on. You don't have to make it more confusing. So dumb it down, step-by-step list. And I have that stuff. I'm more than willing to share that with you on an example email that we send out. Step-by-step how to do it. Here's all the information, and always provide it and over-deliver. We over-communicate is really our key.
I'm laughing over here because I thought I knew how to play bingo. And then when I went to play with you guys, I actually realized I'm like, man, I haven't played bingo in like a decade or something. And then I was like, wait, it took me a second to remember the stuff back. I actually, a couple times was like, wait, I don't think I can do, so the fact that it's listed out, you just assume that the people don't know, prepare for that and help it. I want to circle back to something you just mentioned there. And you kind of breezed through it at the very beginning of this, but I think it is super important, especially when putting on a virtual experience. But for anybody that's thinking about doing a virtual mastermind or a virtual workshop or anything that's going to be live streaming for sure. And it's about the support. Like if you're the main person and you're the performer or the teacher or the lecturer, talk us through that. Like what should we have? Should I be the only one? Should I be letting people in the breakout rooms and doing the chat and support? Like what is the best way to manage all of that?
No, I think in a scenario like that, or even with bingo, we get close to 100 people. It's two of us. And so I'm the one, essentially the host. I'm emceeing, I'm talking. I guess I would be the MC in this scenario. I'm pulling the balls. I'm interacting with the guests, talking to people, keeping them moving and providing the experience. And then my wife is essentially letting people in the room, chatting, responding, dealing with the technical issues. She's also my Vanna White and going and marking on the board behind us what balls we pulled. So she's doing quite a bit over there. So I think you should definitely have somebody there who can answer questions, respond, make sure they're on top of it in the chat, because you as the speaker, you've got to keep your mindset. If you're teaching something, responding to every chat, and I think I might have heard this from you, is don't let the chat run you. If you're responding to every question that comes from chat, you're losing track of where you are. You're breaking up the lesson. You're going to lose engagement with people. It's going to get confusing. So you need to stick with your conversation as the speaker. Stay there and keep it going. And then it's up to your partner or your co-host to essentially say, hey, we had a question come up. You should answer this, or responding to the questions in the chat. So I think depending on the size of your event, you can do it with at least 2 people. Now, if you got thousands in breakout rooms and you want different people in every breakout room, you're going to need more people to help you with that kind of stuff. But you definitely want someone who can kind of host the technical issues in the chat and let people in the room and mute and unmute and change the spotlight and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just think that's super important for everybody to kind of understand. If you're doing it, again, like with a pre-recorded virtual summit, you're good. You can probably manage most of it by yourself. But if you're doing a live streaming, a workshop, a mastermind, or even just an experience where you have multiple things going on, like if, like Luke, I'd say you're the talent, you're the face, right? So in this scenario, if you're doing the teaching, you have to be focused on what you're teaching, what's next, you got to stay on track of this and keeping everybody here. If you focus over onto the support or on letting people in and out, like for example, when I did my virtual mastermind, I had my partner helping with all the support, letting people in and out of the into the Zoom, and then breakout rooms, and then timers, because I had to focus on, who's coming up next to speak? What am I talking about right now? And providing the experience. So please note that is super important. Luke, as we start to wrap this up, I'd kind of like to just maybe look down, dig down even a little bit more into engagement from the aspect of how we're going to provide an emotional response. We've talked about a little bit on creating big virtual experiences. And honestly, most of us are probably not going to be able to do that on our own. We'll need to reach out to somebody like you, who I know helps other businesses and organizations put on these. But if I'm running a virtual summit, it's already an event, and most of it's pre-recorded. But what are other ideas that I could do, maybe that are not even an experience, like a bingo, but maybe with my host? What are some live streaming things I could do? Could I have multiple people on, or breakout rooms? What are these things that kind of happen that we could do?
Yeah, I think number one, and I know you've been doing a lot of this, is just to be honest, especially this day and age right now. Tell the story that you're going through. I've been very vocal about where I'm at with my business. Casey Crew is shut down. We had to furlough everyone. We have no income for the foreseeable future. So hey, we're doing bingo. We're trying to give fun stuff for people to do. So like, I've been completely honest and open about my situation, and a lot of people out there can relate to that. So that's going to get them emotionally involved right away. I know you do a lot of this and talk about your story and all the things that you've been through, and, you know, failures and successes, and that people need to relate with you. And I think it starts there with relatability, and that's going to get them emotional, number one. But yeah, I think the breakout rooms, I think, are really, really cool. If you like, we're planning to do the networking thing where, you know, we split people up for 5 minutes or 10 minutes at a time into each breakout room, and you have a host in each breakout room helping with the networking and facilitating it, and then you bring in everybody back. So there's a lot of unique things you can do like that. But as far as emotional response goes, is get personal. Ask the person their name. Ask them how they're doing right now. Did they lose their job? I had a guy the other day say he wakes up, rolls out of bed, and steps 2 steps to his desk, and that's where he works every day. And it's driving him crazy. His home office is his bedroom. And so, and we talked about that, you know, like, hey, are there other ideas? What have you been doing to get through that? And everyone else was just listening. And I think they some of them related or didn't realize the problems he was going through, and immediately wanted to talk to him. And so that emotional response is really good for him, but it's also good for everybody. And I know, again, that's getting a little bit deeper and more, you know, more revealing, but at the same, and vulnerable. But right now, I think those are the ways we get through the times we're in. But outside of, you know, coronavirus, I think either way, for an emotional response, you got to get personal. You got to get to know the person, give them their name. And you do a great job with this, even just calling their name out when they come through the chat. Hey, Luke's here. Oh my God. Hey, that's my brother. Yesterday, our cousin was on bingo. And I was like, hey, Sheila, my cousin's on bingo. I haven't even met her babies yet, who are also my cousins. She brought them onto the screen. I'm like, everybody say hello to my cousins who I haven't even met yet, right? Like, everybody could relate to that, and they saw that. And at the same time, I'm being honest. I'm being myself. And so just calling those out, calling the people out, being able to hear their names, seeing themselves on the screen, you're going to get that emotional feeling, especially when everybody's like, happy birthday, Mark. You know, it's like, I don't know any of these people, and they're wishing me happy birthday. So there's just little things like that, all the way to the extreme, like one-on-one, talking deep. What are you going through? How do we get through this? So it can vary on a lot of different scales.
With the Ever Summit feature inside the Virtual Summit software, you can rerun your summit as if it were live, ongoing forever with one click of a button. This now lets you continue to use your summit forever, bringing in qualified and engaged leads every month into your business. Get more information at virtualsummit.com.
Yeah, and I think that is so important, because if you can connect with somebody emotionally or give them emotional response, it's going to create a lot more bond, know, like, and trust. And again, there's all different kinds of levels. There's, you know, there's the sad, there's the controversial, and then there's the fun, like, which is, you know, Luke and I love to be in that kind of party humor mode, and that's kind of where we hang out the most. But that also shows if you can go from that to another side. It's kind of like highlight, right? If you're always loud, like if a singer was always singing at the as loud as they could be, it would not be the same effect as when they get really soft and quiet and they sing those lower notes. Now, last thing I kind of want to just touch on here, because you talked about the breakout rooms, and I think this is an important thing for a lot of the people listening here. When it comes to the breakout rooms, I kind of want you to go in a little bit more detail on Zoom, because maybe they haven't even seen or heard of this or whatnot, but just to provide some examples of how, you know, those of you listening in could use this, is Luke mentioned like a networking, but if you're running a summit, you think of like a round table, think of mastermind sessions. This could be like a speaker-led round table, so now you have more opportunities for speakers. This could also be an attendee-led mastermind where everybody goes around and shares. So like breakouts in the past were not really very common on virtual summits, or even virtual workshops and masterminds weren't even common, period. But with that being said, Luke, walk us through what that actually is now so we can understand how to use it.
Yeah, so the easiest way to think of a breakout room is if you've never been to an event before. A breakout is essentially you've got 100 people in a room, and now you're going to split up into 10 groups of 10 into different rooms. You're all going to go into those rooms. You're all going to talk together. You're going to have one-on-one actions. Everybody comes back. So that's kind of what a breakout room is. Virtually, it's the same thing. Zoom has the option. What I would recommend, which I didn't do until about a week after I got into this really deep, is go into your Zoom settings and just go line by line and read every single one and turn on the ones that make sense. I've learned so much just by doing that. And then I'm still learning more now that people are using Zoom, how to turn on your audio. So you have to turn a lot of these settings on, your breakouts, your polling, you know, all these different settings. So go through your settings on Zoom one by one, turn on what you want, turn on what you don't want. You can always go back and turn them and change them later. Do that. And then one of those options is your breakout rooms. So you can actually go into your Zoom live right now, obviously when you have multiple people, and send people to breakout rooms. You can do it randomly. You can set timers, so it's 10 minutes, then everybody comes back. You can assign people specifically. So Katie and our next idea is essentially a trivia where you're on teams, and we send you to a breakout room with your team for 30 seconds and you come back with your answer. So it's actually like real trivia where you're conferring with your team and then you come back to the main group and have trivia. So that's one of the ways we're going to be using the breakout room. First way I saw it done was the happy hour networking. There was like 100 people on. They broke us out 10 minutes at a time to 10 people each. And we went around, each person talked. We could see them all. We interacted, networked, brought us all back, and they redid it with new people. And so there's a lot of different ways you can do it. But essentially, breakout rooms are kind of my new thing that I'm learning and seeing that we're going to try and implement into some of the stuff we're doing. But exactly like you said, like, well, here's one speaker. Well, if I can have a breakout room with 10 rooms, I can now have 10 speakers and more people in those rooms. So it's a really cool feature.
And when it comes to the honestly, I think it is one of the most powerful engagement strategies we have. Again, more's not always better, but being able to use it at some point is great because it allows people the opportunity to actually talk and engage with other people. Just think about it. When you go to a normal conference, you hang out with some people, you meet some people, you talk about stuff, you share ideas and back and forth. So either way, I think the breakout room is an amazing, easier, strategy for engagement. And so I highly recommend everybody take a look at it. All right, Luke, this has been phenomenal. Thank you for walking us through all of these different types of virtual experience, engagement strategy, things to know, things to watch out for. I know everybody's kind of like going like, I want a little bit of community creator in my life. Where can I find Luke? So let everybody know where you're hanging out at, where they can reach out to you.
Yep. You can go to thecommunitycreator.com, and that's going to get you to all the information I have available right now. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, on Facebook at the community creator. So feel free to jump on there. I'm really active on LinkedIn with a lot of ideas and cool stuff I'm putting out right now. So feel free to connect to me, but go to thecommunitycreator.com, shoot me an email, shoot me a message. I'd love to learn how I can help you create community for your audience right now. And again, I want to push that part home is a lot of people don't think they have community right now. I've had companies that are like, I don't know what to do. I can't sell this anymore. I can't sell my products. I normally do bids. I do this. I don't even know what to do. Your customers and your clients are your community. They want something to do. How do you give them that? Again, a construction company reached out to me. They do construction trivia with a big charity fundraiser. Normally at the end of the month, he said he was going to cancel it. We're now doing it virtually through construction trivia. We're customizing it for them. So again, think about how you serve your audience, which is essentially your community.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you again, Luke. This has been an absolute blast.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thanks again, Luke. Absolutely fabulous to have you here. And thank you, all you Summit hosts, for spending this time with Luke and I. I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, your host here on the Virtual Summit Podcast. And remember, your message matters. So go out there and make an impact in the world. Don't forget to head over to the show notes at podcast.virtualsummits.com/135 to get all these gems and goodies in the show notes that Luke has just given us and be able to connect with him. And I'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Now don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star review on the Virtual Summit Podcast. Head over to the show notes to check out all the links and resources from this episode, and be sure to grab your free trial of the Virtual Summit software.
Now, I want to end this episode by saying to all the Summit hosts listening right now, I believe in you, and you can do this. Summits are by far one of the most powerful ways to quickly grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and most importantly, make an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. So don't get caught up in analysis paralysis, because the world needs to hear your message, and there are people who are waiting for you to help them. So just get started, because imperfect action is always better than no action. Thank you, and see you on the next episode.